In today's lesson, we are going to look at some very important ways that we can always be polite, not only when speaking in English, but also when we are actually here in England. So, over the last couple of weeks, I have made an effort to look for specific ways that I notice people being polite or showing good manners, and I'm going to share them with you today. Not only to help you improve your speaking ability, but also prepare you for if and when you actually visit England so you know exactly what to expect and what to do. But firstly, as always, welcome back to GSL English. My name is Gideon, and I'm here, as always, to help you speak natural, fluent, and confident English. And that's exactly what we are going to do today. Not by looking at vocabulary and pronunciation, but today we are just going to focus on certain ways that we can always be polite and show good manners. But why? Why look at being polite for a whole lesson? Well, it's true that we might consider ourselves a fluent speaker, advanced, intermediate. Whatever level we are, it is very true that we can have all the vocabulary in the world. We can have the best accent, the best pronunciation, but the way that we speak to others is extremely important to effective communication and conversations. Being polite is essential. Showing good manners is essential to positive and effective conversation with others in English. So that's exactly what we are going to look at. To illustrate, let's imagine that we are cooking. Perhaps think of your favourite meal. Now, when we cook that meal, do we add salt, pepper, maybe some spices and flavouring? Yeah, generally we do. Why? Well, it makes that meal so much more enjoyable, doesn't it? It makes us want to eat that meal and possibly enjoy it again. It adds flavour to what we are eating. It's the same with being polite or showing good manners. Yeah, we might have good vocabulary, good sentence structure, we might have a good understanding of grammar, but being polite, showing good manners is like the seasoning that we put on food. It's the salt and pepper, it's the spices. It makes it much more enjoyable, makes it a much nicer experience, and then others want to go through it again with us. So I hope that illustration makes sense, but you get the idea. Being polite and showing good manners is essential to effective communication. So let's get into it and look at some specific ways that we can always be polite and show good manners in English. The first isn't really just one point. I'm going to give you a 3-in-1 special. And that is this. Always, whenever, and wherever you can, say please, thank you, and sorry. That's it. Say please, thank you, and sorry. Why? Well, it is true that a lot of cultures are different, aren't they? And a lot of cultures have different expectations when it comes to being polite and showing good manners. But here in England, saying please, thank you, and sorry, it really goes a long way. So I'd like to give you this rule. If in doubt, say it. So thinking about those 3 words, please, thank you, and sorry, if in doubt, say it. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't hurt anyone. But generally, it will always make the conversation more enjoyable. It will make that interaction so much nicer. For example, let's imagine that we are at a cafe ordering a coffee, or we're at a restaurant and we're looking to order a main meal. Perhaps we've decided what we want, Maybe we want a coffee with an extra shot. Well, does it hurt to say, could I please have blah, blah, blah? Or could I have blah, 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 please? No, it doesn't hurt anyone. Or maybe you order a coffee and the person making the coffee says, would you like milk with that? Rather than just saying, yes, yeah, yes, please. It just sounds so much nicer, doesn't it? If in doubt, always say please. It doesn't cost anything. And then in return, we say thank you when we are given our food, when we are given our coffee, even if somebody holds the door open for us, whatever. Thank you. Thanks so much. Thanks, mate. However you want to say it, that doesn't really matter. Just use whatever comes naturally to you. But just saying thank you, it's such a kind thing to do, isn't it? And thirdly, the word sorry. Now, particularly here in England, we like to say sorry a lot. But it's not necessarily from the bottom of our heart, apologising for something that has happened. No, it's more of just an acknowledgement that we didn't mean to do something. So, sorry about that. Maybe you're in a crowded place like the Underground in London. You accidentally step on someone's foot. Rather than ignoring it, sorry, didn't mean to do that. I'm so sorry. It just creates a nice interaction. It's being polite. It's showing good manners. Even in England, we often say sorry when it wasn't our fault. And I noticed this the other week. I was in the pub with my family and I had my drink in my hand and someone nudged me on the elbow. Both of us at the same time said sorry. It wasn't my fault. It was the other guy's fault. But it created a nice interaction. There was no harm. There was no malice or aggression there. Both said sorry at the same time, had a little laugh about it, and then moved on. But saying please, saying thank you, saying sorry, it doesn't cost anything. And it's just such a nice, simple way to make sure we are always polite when speaking English. And it just shows good manners. So remember, if in doubt, use them. You're not going to be wrong whenever you say please, thank you, or sorry. Just go for it. Use them all the time. Try and use them today with someone. Please, thank you, sorry. Brilliant and easy way of always being polite in English. Okay, the second way that I want to present to you to always come across in a polite and well-mannered way is saying excuse me rather than pushing past someone. So using those two words, excuse me rather than pushing past someone. And this is something that I feel is very important, particularly when in a busy place, or to be honest, if you're visiting London at any time. Nowadays it's very crowded and sometimes we have to make our way through the crowd and sometimes we can't get through the crowd. Maybe somebody's in our way. Well, rather than just putting our arm out and pushing them out of the way, you say, excuse me, just much more polite. Those two words, simple, excuse me. Or maybe we're at the shops, somebody is in front of us and we just need something that is on the shelf that is in front of them. Excuse me. Just acknowledgement for another human. It just shows respect and it is polite. And often in English, what we will do is we'll say, excuse me, can I just squeeze through? Or can I just squeeze in there? It's just a polite way of acknowledging that that person needs to possibly move for us rather than just pushing our body weight through. Nice way of being polite. Sometimes they won't hear it first time. I know for me, I'm often in my own world, particularly when shopping. I forget about other humans. So it takes a couple of times before I realise somebody is even talking to me. So they will often say, excuse me, 2 or 3 times before I snap out of my own little world. But it's just nice, rather than being pushed in front of. I know that I always appreciate it when somebody just says, excuse me. Maybe they just squeezing through or passing by us. Again, if in doubt, use it. Doesn't do any harm at all. I feel like that's going to be the theme of today's class. If in doubt, use it. Okay, the third area that we can always be polite can be used in a multitude of different situations, but also in a formal or business setting. And that is questions after greeting. Questions after greeting. What do I mean by this? Well, conversations are often awkward when nothing is said. For example, hello, hello. And you just kind of stare at each other for a while. Well, that doesn't need to happen if we're being polite. So after we have greeted someone, hello, a simple question. How are you? How are you doing? How's your week been? How's the family? Anything that just shows a bit of an interest in that person. And this would be considered small talk. In a business meeting in England, in London, there will be this interaction. There will be this small talk before you get down to business. So we want to use it, to be polite, particularly if somebody has already asked us. So maybe a person we are meeting with, whether it's a friend or a colleague or a work partner, they say, hello, how are you? So then you answer. Well, once you have finished your answer, you then want to ask them back, how are you? Or repeat the question back to them. I've noticed so many times that a conversation ends very quickly when somebody just answers a question and then that's it. But also, it's just good manners. Isn't it polite to respond with the same interest, with the same interaction? We're not looking for a deep conversation, but just after a greeting, ask a question. Just a nice, polite way of showing interest and adding flavour to our use of the English language. Give that a go. Maybe try it this week. If you know you are going to have a class with a teacher, maybe you're going to speak with a friend in English, ask them a question after the greeting. Another way that we can always be polite, and I guess this is more of a personal preference for me, but I've noticed, I wrote it down, that a lot of people do it, and that is eye contact. So it doesn't actually involve any speaking, doesn't involve any use of the English language, but eye contact is generally considered good manners. It's polite. When we greet somebody and you look them in the eye, you get that connection, don't you? You're building upon that initial reaction. Or when you have a conversation and you're looking at somebody in the eye as they are talking to you, it shows that you are interested in what they are saying. You care about what they are saying, and it encourages the conversation to keep going. Because there's nothing worse than, I'm sure you've been in conversations where you're talking to somebody and they're looking everywhere but at your eyes. It's off-putting. Or the worst thing is you're talking to somebody and they're looking at your mouth or your forehead and you're thinking, have I got something on my mouth? Is there something on my forehead? But no, just nice, relaxed eye contact. We don't want to stare them out, but just nice, relaxed, natural eye contact. It's a polite way of showing that we are listening, that we care, that we are interested. Again, it doesn't cost anything. Maybe it feels a little bit unusual to us. Maybe naturally we're not as confident, so eye contact might make us feel a little bit uncomfortable. Well, work your way up to full eye contact. Maybe next time you have a conversation, even in your native language, you can make an effort to look somebody in the eye now and then, just to feel more comfortable with it. But yeah, give that a try. To sound more polite and show good manners, don't underestimate the power of eye contact. Okay, another way of being polite, particularly when visiting England, is respect a queue. Respect a queue. Do not push or jump into a queue. Frenzy will ensue if you do. People will get angry. respect a queue. It's true, isn't it, that a queue is not always convenient. I know for me, I don't enjoy standing in queues, but as English people, we respect the system of a queue and we expect others to do so. So perhaps there's a queue, you might have one item, the person in front of you might have 10 items. That doesn't give you the right to jump in front. Maybe you could ask very politely, but generally we just respect the queuing system wherever we are or whatever we are doing, at an airport, at a restaurant, at a festival, whatever. If you're in England, to be polite and show good manners, we have to respect the queue. It's almost like a national thing. Nobody jumps a queue. If you do jump a queue, you're not going to be well respected, or I would say. And I have seen people get angry and speak their opinions. So yeah, you want to be polite, always respect the queuing system. And finally, the last way that I wanted to share that we can always be polite and show good manners is to conclude with well wishes. What do I mean by this? Well, perhaps a conversation has ended, or maybe we are ordering a coffee, we've got our coffee. A nice way of being polite that I heard quite a few people do, and I like to do this as well, is just conclude with a simple, have a nice day. So after we've got our coffee, we've said thank you, have a good one, have a great day, thanks so much, have a lovely afternoon, whatever it is. Such a nice, simple, easy way of concluding a conversation or an interaction in a polite way is to offer just well wishes. And there's loads of different ways we can do this. Have a good one. Have a nice day. Cheers. I'll see you soon. Have a lovely afternoon. Have a great weekend. Whatever, maybe you can think of some more and let me know in the comments. But concluding with these comments is just such a polite way of ending an interaction. And I'll be honest, I wish more people did it. Because at the end of the day, we are all humans, aren't we? And how does it make you feel when somebody is polite to you? Particularly when somebody says to you, have a nice day. It makes us feel good. And then maybe you will pass that on to others. So it's almost spreading the positivity. But that is the last way that we can look at being polite and showing good manners, is by concluding interactions, conversations, business meetings, whatever it is, with well wishes. There are some ways that we can always be polite when not only speaking in English, but also visiting England. So give those a try. If you get an opportunity, have a practice with them. That first one, nice and simple. Please, thank you, and sorry. Get in the habit of saying those 3 words. It just goes such a long way. And it's a nice, easy, simple way of being polite. And remember, kind of the slogan of today's class, if in doubt, use it. If we don't know whether we should be polite or not, be polite. It won't cost you anything, and usually it will make the other person feel better and enjoy their day more. So I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, as I greatly assist you on your English learning journey. And I'll see you all very soon. Have a good one, guys.